Hi, I'm Alice Crawley and this is my home in Notting Hill where I live with my 3 children, husband and dog. So this is our kitchen where we spend most of our time. We were very lucky when we moved into this house in 2020. The kitchen was already here and I toyed with the idea of pulling it all out and starting again, but it felt a little bit wasteful, and also you can do a lot with just painting and redecorating. So as you can see, we've gone for a full commitment to pink. It's Farrow & Ball's Pink Ground, which is one of my absolute favourite colours. It works so well in any space, it's very versatile, especially because this room doesn't have a huge amount of natural light. It carries through very nicely from the front to the back. And with the pop of green that we've got going on the kitchen island, which was a colour that I created from an image reference, which we colour matched, which really got that sort of verdant, vibrant green colour that I just couldn't seem to find. And then behind me, the one big splurge was the pink marble, which took months and months to find. And for the lighting over the kitchen island, I went for Beata's beautiful dodo egg lights, which are also a real favourite of mine, and I think they give such a nice soft glow. Then we've got the wiggle seat that we had made for the window seat, since we're a family of perchers and everyone's always hovering around the kitchen. So I put a little seat there for little bottoms to sit on, as well as the bar stools, which I found on eBay, which are vintage and graves. So bamboo is one of my most favourite materials to use and work with, and I love this mirror that I found in Vietnam. It's a temple mirror, and I think it brings this whole kitchen area together with the dining room, which I'll take you to next, which also has these beautiful bamboo dining chairs. So these are the bamboo chairs I mentioned that I found also in Vietnam. I love them, and I've used some nice fabric from Sewn to do the cushions. I think they sit really beautifully with the Chinese chinoiserie antique wallpaper panels that I found during my time in Hong Kong. And that's always quite a nice thing that anyone could do, actually. If you find a beautiful piece of wallpaper, just to pop it in a frame, it just looks so pretty. The lights on the wall are vintage. I actually found them on eBay. I have such a love for clamshells, as you'll notice when you go throughout the house, and it's quite nice to mix things up rather than have too much uniformity, especially in one big room. So we've got the hanging light, the pendant light, is actually from Habitat, which is a real find, and it's again just a nice reference to a sort of raffia rattan material, which you'll see popping around the house as well. So this area at the end of the room is where the children spend most of their time when they get back from school. As you can see, it's quite nice and informal. We've got ruffle cushions and blankets on everything. It's pretty indestructible, and it feels a bit more playful down here with these birdcage lamps, which again are from Asia, and the little Chinese console table. It's nice because it leads out to the garden. It's not a huge garden, but it's lovely to have outdoor space that we can look at and enjoy, especially when it gets a bit warmer. We've used some giant clamshells as planters for spring bulbs, which I think will look really pretty in a few weeks. So now I'm going to take you guys upstairs to the ground floor, where I've got my study and the sitting room. This is the hallway. As you can see, I've gone for quite a strong two-tone paint effect, which I really struggled with personally, even though I'm an interior designer. It was quite a big commitment to go for something which felt quite strong, but I'm really happy with it. And as you can see, it sweeps over all the woodwork, all the doorways, and actually that continues throughout the whole house. The red is by Craig & Rose. It's called Red Barn. And then this colour above is actually also Craig & Rose, and it's called Dry Plaster. And what's interesting is when you see it against a darker colour like this red, it looks much more kind of creamy, but then when you see it further up with a paler colour underneath, it looks much more pale pink. This is my study. This is where I managed to get some peace and quiet in the house. It's where I invite my clients to come for meetings, and generally just a bit of a sanctuary. I had this bookshelf bespoke made to store all of my samples and bits and bobs. Originally in this space I'd put my desk up against the wall opposite, but I found that quite stifling creatively, so I quite like sitting with my back against the wall looking out into the room. It gives the room more space, and I actually look up against a cork wall, which I put up because aesthetically I love cork, and also it's really useful for pinning up ideas and fabrics and things. I've used Ottilie de Vrie's beautiful fabric for curtains that lead out onto a little terrace, and Kathy Nordstrom's checked cushions alongside some stripe from Sewn for the banquette seat. This is our sitting room. As you can see, there's quite a lot going on, although I think, yeah, maximalist, more is more. The starting point for my interior design scheme for this room was actually this piece of art by Lynn Chadwick, which has accents of mustards and corals with a bit of a darker green. So as you can see, those are referenced throughout the room. The cushions are by my friend Alice Palmer, and I must have recovered the sofa about 3 times already. I'm quite into upholstering and reupholstering and reupholstering again and again. The curtains I love. They are a chinoiserie design, and I've used this border by Jim Thompson, which I had some left over from a project. On the back side, you probably wouldn't have noticed, but there's a lovely stripe, which for me is a nicer thing for people to look at night when you draw the curtains, rather than just white lining fabric. And then we've got striped chair from Serraldo, one of my favourites, and this beautiful desk, which was a gift from my friend who has a company called the Lacquer Company. They do the most beautiful lacquer furniture and things like that. Over here I've got a shell chair which is covered using Colfax fabric, as well as the cushions actually, bit of an ode to Colfax and Fowler over here. And the paint colour is, I wanted something really soft and cosy but also a little bit interesting, so we went for a yellow with a tiny bit of pink mixed into the white that we used for all the woodwork in the room, which again just makes it feel a little bit more fresh. And I don't know, sometimes yellow can look a little bit dated, so I thought that was interesting to do a soft pink on the woodwork. To light the gallery wall, I've actually used wall lights and put them on the ceiling. These ones are from Rocket St George, and again they're a lovely clamshell shape, but I think it's quite fun to just reinvent something in that way, and it shines quite a gentle light on the artwork rather than being too glaring. And these wall lights here, either side of the mirror above the fireplace, are from Pookie with shades by Alice Palmer. In here we've got a little dual-toned bathroom, downstairs loo. I've used Beata Human's Asteria's Folly for the blinds and for a bespoke little shade made by Alice Palmer. As you can see, there's a little bit of rick-rack going along the edge, which is quite a nice trick. For lighting, I used an antique sconce with some Rosie de Rouault paper shades. She's one of my favourite lampshade designers. Now I'm going to take you upstairs to see the bedrooms. This is our bedroom. As you can see, again, a bit of a pink and green theme going on here. This is Pink Ground by Farrow & Ball. It's the same colour that we used for the kitchen, and I love it in here. It feels so cosy and soft and works really well with the quite strong but pretty prints that I've used for the curtains and the bed canopy, which are all by my friend Cindy. I love the green and white stripe. I think it really breaks up the floral, slightly girly feeling in the room, and it also ties in with this daybed that I got from Asia, which is very handy as it doubles up for when children don't sleep in their own beds. The bed canopy, it was designed with the purpose of giving the room a little bit more height, and also it gives the impression of a 4-poster bed without having to go the whole hog. A clever way of lighting a bed canopy design like this is to actually put the lights on the walls, and then I've just cut slits here, so that allows you to thread it through. The side tables are from Trove, and the lamp is from the Lacquer Company. These lights are also from Trove. I love these with their string shades, and they give a really soft light. And the ceiling light is a vintage Chinese lantern. So for the joinery in here, I was again going to rip out and start again, but not only was it quite a lot to do that, but also felt like it was a bit of a waste. So what I did instead was to make cut-out panels and then apply cane rattan with some beading, and then we changed the cupboard door handles, and I think again the overall impact is really nice. Now I'm taking you through to the master bathroom, where we've continued the pink ground on the walls here, but we've got beautiful wallpaper by Decorne on the other walls. So as you look out, you get this lovely view with the shutters and the wallpaper, and it feels quite dreamy. We refreshed the current bathroom with simple things like new door handles, as well as some new wall lights, which again are vintage from eBay. And then I've got some nice Lacquer Company trays to add a bit of colour and keep all our knickknacks tidy. This is the bedroom of my two eldest daughters, Coco and Grace. It was originally a sitting room, and considering it's one of the larger rooms of the house, we decided to turn it into a children's bedroom. In here I've used this lovely wallpaper by Honor Addington, who's one of my favourite wallpaper designers. It's the Ziggy Stars, and what's quite nice about it is it's not too girly. On the sofa I've got some lovely cushions from Cine. You can see the stripe, blue and white stripes with frilly edges. And then we've got some bedside tables, some nightstands from the lacquer company with Alice Palmer shades. The pendant light in here is a lovely feathery one from Graham and Green, which has quite a nice scale to it. And then I've got Fermoy's cloud print curtains with nice wiggly pelmets with Samuel and Son trims, and hiding behind that are very important blackout blinds using a gingham fabric with a little red rick-rack along the bottom edge. So with two children sharing a room, we decided to go for a double bunk bed, which is a very good sleeping solution. This one's actually from Wayfair, but to make it a little bit more exciting, I've put a bed canopy on it with a nice crown at the centre, again in this yellow gingham to match the wallpaper and the blinds. I've had these shelves made using the scallop edge here and also on the cupboard doors, which you'll see, which used to be bookshelves since this was a sitting room, and we had to figure out a storage solution for two little girls' clothing, so we've made cupboard doors using cane rattan and Camilla Hampton's scallop edge. Now I'm going to bring you to the final room of the house, which is our guest room. And finally, we've got the guest room. It's a room that gets used a lot. There are very few weeks where we don't have someone staying over. So it was important that we made it feel really cosy and inviting. As you can see, I've gone for the whole mono pattern scheme. I've used the same print on the walls, the curtains, the headboard, the valance, and I think it's quite impactful. The furniture I'm looking at here is a lovely old doctor's cabinet from Vietnam, and the mirror as well is also from a Vietnamese antique warehouse. The print in this room is by Sewn Britain, one of my favourite suppliers, and it's the pineapple frond. To complement it, I've gone for some Manuel Canavas embroidered fabric for the cushions with little tassels on. The bedside tables I found at Ardingly, they didn't actually have tops, so I had some mirrored tops made for them, which also reflects the print on the walls, which I think is really exciting. So our pendant light in here is a really sweet little birdcage one from the Conran shop. I've used a filament bulb in there to soften the glare of a naked bulb. And then the wall lights are pooky with cute little Swiss dot shades and they've got a little bit of red embroidery on the bottom, which ties in with the colour scheme in the room. Well, thank you so much for coming and looking around our home. Hopefully you found it interesting and inspiring, and there have been some useful tips in there.